There we go. Hey, how goes it, Ken Bozak? Here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm here with my bro, Bradley Kem of UnstoppableDomains.com. How goes it, bro?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Much appreciated. So, just let's kick things off with, I know you're the co-founder of Unstoppable Domains. Let's start with who are you and maybe how you got into this space and what you're doing now in the industry with Unstoppable Domains.
Yeah. I'm from Atlanta. I've been doing businesses since basically since college days. Started out in the real estate world and was doing some real estate investing stuff in Atlanta. Kind of realized in 2012 I was in the wrong game, so got out to San Francisco. Got into software. Started working on a marketing software company. Nothing related to Bitcoin, but when I moved to San Francisco, I moved straight into this place called 20 Mission, which has been referred to as the house that Bitcoin built. So the
Hmm.
second Bitcoin exchange was launched in our basement. Some of the earliest Bitcoin meetups anywhere were in our basement. Vitalik gave a talk in our
That's awesome.
courtyard before Ethereum even launched. So basically, everybody I met when I moved to San Francisco was a crypto nut, and I feel really lucky. I bit the bug and went down the rabbit hole really quickly after that, and just haven't been able to stop thinking about it since.
That's amazing. Was just segue a little bit. Was Vitalik doing the magazine at the time yet?
It was probably in between. It was during the time when he was full time developing on
Oh,
Ethereum.
okay.
Hadn't gone live yet. So at that point, he was doing like essentially a lot of marketing to developers, trying to get them excited about the smart contract platform, even when it wasn't live yet, when it was just on testnet. And yeah, I mean, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it then. But yeah, it was just cool to. It was very clear when I first moved to San Francisco that that's where the energy was. There was everybody's doing startups, but like there was something really special going on in the crypto community. Even though it was small at that time, it was already pretty unique.
So I guess being around a lot of that so early on, it must have been, inspiring. So I guess what inspired Unstoppable Domains? Was there any like personal issues that you ran into with traditional services, or what can't kind of, came about this project?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, I think the origins are almost political. It's really about free speech and empowering the individual. The same things that I think got a lot of us excited about crypto in general. But when you start talking about decentralizing the web, that's this whole other piece of it. Money is a critical piece of it. Information is the other critical piece. So you put money and information completely into my hands and completely into your hands, and now we're much more free as individuals. We can do all kinds of things, and no company and no government can stop us.
But isn't censorship to keep us safe, right? Like what's stopping these bad actors from exploiting this unstoppable technology?
I mean, it's a point that was made also about cryptocurrency itself.
Exactly.
People were saying, oh, well, this is just going to be for people that want to do it for bad stuff. And the truth is, most people in the world are not trying to do bad and harmful things. So it means that most of the uses for any technology are going to be positive. But in this case, I mean, I think the bigger problem that we face as a society is around censorship. The majority of people in the world do not live in a free place. If you publish about the president or whatever, your website can get taken down, and maybe even worse.
Well, I mean, even if you're just an admin of a website like Ross Ulrich of Silk Road, I mean, you could end up in prison for the rest of your life times 2 plus 20. I mean, it's pretty scary. Just kind of to put that together, is this something that Ross and the Silk Road team could have actually utilized to keep themselves safe from government censorship?
So the way that it works is that it's about. I think that these tools, at least initially, are going to be better for people that are getting their political speech repressed. So there's kind of two big pieces of the censorship side of the puzzle that we're trying to solve. And so what Unstoppable Domains is we are a registry business. So similar to VeriSign, owner of .com, except that we build our domain name systems on blockchains. So each domain name system, so it's a smart contract on a public blockchain like Ethereum, and each domain is like an NFT, kind of
So
like a
this is Web 3.0 websites.
exactly. And
So
so
you would
what
need a wallet to interact with these domains, right? To get the full UI. Like you need a Chrome browser to interact with unstoppabledomains.com. You would need a third party wallet that has Web 3.0 so you can interact with the dApp.
Yeah, so you would need either a wallet extension or a browser that supports this stuff natively. And
Is
so I
there
think
any?
both there will be. So
Okay.
there's a whole bunch of crypto oriented browsers and a bunch of
BitTube's browser is pretty popular.
yeah, yeah, and there's a whole bunch more coming. So that piece of the puzzle I think is going to be pretty easy. Plus, all kinds of users have wallet extensions, and all these wallet extensions can also resolve websites. So the way it's going to work is there's going to be two main things. There's going to be payments. So you're going to be able to do things like receive money to directly to your domains. You can just tell me your domain. I type it into a wallet.
Very
I send
similar to an Ethereum name service type of system.
except that it works for all currencies. So I can send you Bitcoin, I can send you Ethereum, I can send you Litecoin, I can send you money, I can send you any currency I want that you've already associated with your domain, and it can work inside of any cryptocurrency wallet. So it doesn't just have to be an Ethereum wallet or whatever. It can be any kind of wallet.
I saw that
And
you partnered with or integrated with Koinami, and that is amazing. I really thought that was a convenience factor that the space was lacking drastically. And even wallets haven't even really built this in for their own convenience, right? Like if they even had their own centralized way of doing it, they didn't even try. So it's amazing that you're doing this in a decentralized means where I don't have to worry about, I would say, malware like copy paste where if I send you my Bitcoin address, you copy it, you paste it, you hit send, but it really isn't my address anymore.
scary. Yeah. And basically what you're getting here is you're getting like a validation. So you type in the domain, the wallet reads the blockchain and returns an address. So that's basically the safest way in the world you can go and get an
Now,
address.
how difficult is this for wallets to integrate?
It's super easy. I mean, they're getting it done in an hour or two. I mean, we have a library. It supports all of our domain name systems. We're even making our library support any other domain name systems with users. Just so wallets just have this one simple integration that they can make, and then they can essentially get access to anything that exists now or anything that exists in the future.
How difficult is it to list currencies for ZIL domains? So if I wanted to, Dash, Decred, Pivx, whatever, Monero, all these other ones that are out there besides, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin and ZIL and these currencies, how difficult is it to add more of these if they're not available yet?
It's really easy. So it's really just about, I mean, so I think we've got maybe 30 in our UI right now. But based on user requests and as we onboard more wallets, we're just adding more to eventually the goal will be to have, basically everything. And for you as the user, when you want to add an address, all you do is copy and paste it and click save. And then in the background, there's a transaction on the blockchain writing that information and signing with your private key. But for you as the user, it's really copy, paste, and save. Like it's the simplest thing in the world.
Have you seen any traditional websites moving into the 3.0 and how they're utilizing the technology? And like, how is it different from what we're already seeing with traditional domain services?
Yeah, so it's pretty early, and the way we kind of expect this thing to play out is that it's going to start with crypto enthusiasts, and it's going to start with free speech advocates that are really getting shut down around the world. Probably not so much in the U.S. because U.S. is the place where you're least likely to get your domain seized or your web content taken down, although it does happen.
Like, like
Uh,
having a blog in China.
Exactly. So, and it's really more than half the world, and we see those groups as probably being the most likely to use this stuff early on. And the reason why is because the tools are pretty simple at this stage. It's kind of like early internet, 1990s internet, simple blogs, very simple websites. The difference is, these are uncensorable, so you know that you can invest in in building a web property for the long term.
Well, this is for the domain that would be uncensorable, but what about the server host for what's being represented for the UI through the domain?
So you're going to connect your domain to decentralized hosting services, and decentralized. So you'll put your content on IPFS or another decentralized storage network, and then you'll write an IPFS hash to your domain. So when I go into a wallet, so when I go into a browser and I type in a domain, so long as I have a wallet extension that reads the IPFS hashes, then I'll just type in a domain normally and I'll see the website.
So this is truly uncensorable.
Yeah, you're basically, what you're doing is you used to rely on Amazon Web Services. You give one company your content. In the future, you're going to give hundreds of different individuals your content, and they're not going to take any opinion on what it is, just like the way Bitcoin Network works, where miners don't say, do I like you or do I like your transaction or not before they process it.
Now, do you expect to have your own I'm gonna get crap for this, your own CryptoKitty moment, and what could that look like, as far as like spam goes? Because you're gonna see a lot of people, like we did early on in the internet, they just make websites for everything, and it kind of, bogged up a lot of stuff and started to make things start to cost a lot, right? There was a bubble in that era. So I'm just curious, like, where do you see a potential for, like, spam or that CryptoKitties moment where a lot of users start utilizing it out of nowhere?
I mean, I think that sounds like a good problem, partially. The nice thing is that Ethereum has come a long way since the CryptoKitties incident with the fee marketplace. So it's a little bit easier now to manage large flows of transactions. That's one thing. Two, we learned from an architecture perspective. We, the community, learned from architecture perspective how to make things more efficient. And three, it's going to be a time thing. So basically, what will happen on our end is, if we see that fees are spiking, then we'll basically say, okay, this transaction needs to take longer. And that's basically the trade-off now. Is you're like, okay, do I want to pay a lot and have this thing happen fast, or do I want to pay a little amount and make this thing happen slower? And the thing we're talking about is just updates to your website.
Right.
Anybody can go and read that information, and it's not a transaction. So for me viewing your website, not a problem. It's you updating your website where things get a little tricky.
Well, I guess, I mean, I feel like even in the legacy system, that's sort of, there's a friction or a gas associated to updating your website. It's just not tokenized in a sense.
And it's not quite as expensive as it will be in this world. But ultimately, in this world, this stuff's going to get way cheaper than the traditional system.
Yeah, well, exponential curve. I mean, look how easy it is to just hop on GoDaddy and make your own website in 2 seconds. And this took decades to get to that ease of use.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Yeah.
probably going to see this happen in five. I'm projecting with the exponential curve, and the way you can hand a 5-year-old an iPad and they just intuitively know how to use it, like it's bred into our DNA. Like, we're picking up on this, and I'm just curious, like, why unstoppabledomains.com? Are you using .zil as an unstoppable domains.zil proof of concept?
We will, for sure. But kind of to this, to the point that we were previously discussing, this tech is not ready for high performance websites yet. It's just not. It's not at that level yet. It will be, and we will definitely have versions of our product on the Unstoppable Web too. But for now, it's going to start out with much simpler websites. Like,
What's the issue that's holding it back? Why is it feel, or like, what is the what is it lacking, in terms of looking and having similarities to traditional websites?
so one of the issues is, like we were talking about, with the updating. So it's costly if you want to update your website frequently. And the other thing primarily is around the performance. So if you have a website with a really small amount of data, then you can view it really easily, and you can view it really quickly. If it has larger amounts of data, then it can take a while. Like, it could take a minute to load a web page or something like that. And you as a user are just not used to that. So you're going to assume something's wrong. So it's not within the time frame that you would need, but it does work with very few issues if it's just like blog, simple website, stuff like that. So that's why we're going to focus there first. get a bunch of websites out there in the world that people can actually see and play with, while the tech is in the background getting higher and higher performance. And that'll be like a slow curve, like you
Mhm.
said, like in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Like eventually, we'll be able to do a whole Netflix on the Unstoppable
Well,
Web.
that would be
But
supply and demand, right? I mean, like the demand for streaming was from the end users really. A lot of people started using independent stream. Mega Upload, shout out to Kim.com. I mean, he himself inspired the technology behind Netflix. Without the companies seeing the customers wanting to utilize this technology for the user experience that it provided them, they wouldn't be inspired to have threw so much money at the problem to solve it. And I think that's what we're going to see is this mom and pop shop type of inspiration where the legacy companies start to see that pressure. And that kind of segues me to is there any worries of like traditional companies that sort of solve problems for domain services moving into the space since it's a lot of open source technology? Is there anything that like GoDaddy could just do and replace what Zill's doing?
I mean, I think it would be a great thing if they were to embrace this technology more. And in the case of GoDaddy, they would be a partner because GoDaddy's business is to be a reseller. So
True that.
they're not a registry. They don't make like GoDaddy would be an amazing partner for us because they could resell our domains, and they don't have that many new products to sell. It's basically just been the same .com and whatever for a while.
A lot
So
of yeah, I've seen a lot of new dot stuff pop up now, and I think that that's kind of trending, and I like it. I'm sick of the dot coms, and I think it's really cool to start to see a lot of these. I don't even know. There's so many. There's like I don't
much.
know. Yeah, so many, dude, and they're starting to become sort of household term dot domains now. There
Mhm.
was a monopoly on domains with dot com. If you weren't a dot com, you were a scam. And it's not the case. There was a that itself was a scam. There was a border to entry to even open your own .com if you wanted to be a small pizza shop. Good luck.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah, so I think the traditional domain name industry will eventually just sort of slowly get on board, but it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's with anything that's disruptive, right? It's they're gonna see the what is it, like the five phases of like death or whatever, and they're finally gonna come to terms of agreement and be like, all right, that's it. We need to advance because a lot of these companies don't want to be blockbustered. They don't want to be yellow cabbed, and they see how quick the spaces can progress. Hey, Amina, how goes it? Thanks for stopping by. Crypto Angels, Amina M, how goes it? So I guess like let's talk about where Zill comes into play with all of this and the utility behind it. Like, not to say like where it gets its value, but where does it get its use case and where is its role in the blockchain when it comes to unstoppable domains and Zill, the cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so the crazy thing about blockchain domains is that in general, you can use them for any cryptocurrency. So it doesn't actually matter what chain the domain name system is on because you can use the same domain to send Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Zilliqa, whatever. It doesn't even matter. You as the user don't even need to care which blockchain your domain name system is sitting on. But the main thing that I think is going to happen for the crypto community in the short term is that it's going to be about simplifying crypto payments, making it so we no longer need to have these long, complicated situations where you ask me what my email address is, you copy and paste your Bitcoin address, you send it to me, I copy and paste it into the wallet to pay you. You could just tell me, text me, whatever, hey, my address is this, my domain is this, and I just boom, type it in and pay.
I want to
So
put my tinfoil hat on and play the maximalist role here. And isn't privacy one of the main aspects of crypto where you don't really want to be associated with a wallet publicly too much, right? You want to have some anonymity there. So like, wouldn't this be sort of like a backstep of that progress and be sort of like a doxing of your income and your outgoing?
if
Because I
you're
could look up your Brad.zil and see your addresses on the blockchain and kind of see how much you're getting, and it kind of makes you a honeypot in a sense. I mean, if this space keeps going up, I mean, 5 years ago you weren't a honeypot, today you are.
Yeah, I mean, if you want privacy, I wouldn't suggest using, your first and last name. But you could have a pseudo anonymous nickname as your domain, and then that would you would have that. You can also use privacy coins, and so you can send those, and people wouldn't be able to see. And ultimately, there will be ways to also obscure your Bitcoin and your Ethereum addresses, even associated with your public name.
Hmm.
That's just not the first thing we're working on, but there are solutions. So
I
you'll
think that
also
would be important for things like, legacy things like payroll and, paying your bills. Because I don't need Netflix to know how much money I have in my bank just because I use Visa to pay my Netflix bill.
yeah, exactly. And those things are solvable. So I agree with you that they're important, and I think they will be addressed. But there's also a lot of other ways to do it in the short term.
Do you see Lightning kind of Lightning and things like, I guess, like Mimblewimble and what Rootstock's doing? Do you think that these, where we have these long public addresses, I know what you're doing with Unstoppable Domains, but wouldn't this potentially be implemented as a protocol that could just, like where we could just by default, protocol wise, have a domain type name instead of a public address?
You could do it that way, and I believe EOS attempted to do it that
Yeah,
way.
they tried.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues. One of the issues that they found, I believe, was related to the forks. So once you had forks, then you had like the same domain on multiple
Oh,
things. So there are some issues that you can have from when we looked at it from a tech perspective, we determined that launching it as a smart contract on a blockchain is easier. Like it doesn't need to be at the protocol level, and anything that doesn't need to be at the protocol level, if it can be at the application level, probably going to be easier to manage and update it at the application level. So it's more kind of like a developer consideration, and our tech team determined this was the simpler and better path. I do believe there are other other attempts that have been tried at the protocol layer, and it may be that there's something to that. We're not, I think we're not uh, going to completely dismiss that as a possibility, but just by looking at how things have gone, if you can build it as a DApp, probably easier and more secure to build it as a DApp.
yeah. So like, that's what I was thinking when I started diving down the rabbit hole that is Unstoppable Domains. I was like, shit, they might be building their own planned obsolescence. These core devs might see something here and be like, yo, we should really work on this if the use case kind of calls for it. If people start really utilizing the ease of use of having a domain over the public address, then it may be inspired enough to, get a core developer to kind of just implement it as a BIP. And hey, identity block, how goes it? I like to think of the stuff like this as how far can it go and how much it can really be applied. And thinking of like even exchanges using this is like this is so new. Like I started to think like how could an exchange use this? How could smart contracts use this for like multiple payments being sent out to multiple addresses through one, right? Like now you send payroll.zil and then because of that it goes to the addresses in there and through a smart contract that pays people as if it should. Now we have a lot of bounty programs that come out and they have issues with a lot of this. So with the way things are today, where do you see this technology being embraced in a mainstream way? Where's like that niche use case that you really kind of see yourselves filling outside of the obvious?
Yeah, I think that the thing that's probably non-obvious that will become clear as the tools is that it's really this combination of payments and content that changes the whole formula. So it's not enough to just have crypto payments. Like Overstock tried to put crypto payments into their business. It's not enough. Like what you need content plus payments. And once you have content plus payments, you can just set up a business anywhere in the world, and your government and no company can weigh in on that. You can show content, no one can take it down. You can sell content, no one can stop you because the money can just go to you across a crypto network. So it's really about the fact that the domain can be both a payment gateway and a pointer to your content at the same time, means that I know I'm paying the same person. So you show me a website, I see the website is marketing some good or service. If I pay to the same website, I know it's the same person. There's no way it's possible. There's fraud. There's no way I'm getting tricked. It's not like Stripe where you have to like go and there's some validation or whatever else like that. not even like somebody just posting a Bitcoin address to that website, because who knows if that website has a man in the middle or not.
Yeah.
So, it's just it's this whole new level of how I can build and launch a business. And I think if that's how, if once people see those two things together, they're going to be like, oh man, I can just post an article and I can charge 25 cents for it. People will know it's me and they'll trust it. I can start launching a paid, YouTube channel essentially, although not on YouTube. I can just post my videos and I can get money for it. And no one can censor my content. YouTube takes down videos all the time.
Right. And I always thought about that where people are like, I could send money anywhere around the world. And I'm like, yeah, but for what? Like, how are you going to get goods and services if the money transmittance was censored? The goods and services sure as hell are going to be censored. If I wanted to buy a comic book from somebody in North Korea with Bitcoin, sure. But how am I going to get the damn comic book? Who's hosting this file? Amazon sure ain't going to let them. They're censoring it just as much as PayPal was censoring it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a full circle economy builder, right? Because like now they are inspired to start accepting it because it provides the means to do their goods or services, right? Otherwise, it's really risk reward when it comes to this, and like that's where the paradigm comes from. A lot of these third world countries or people that are being censored are being pushed into a corner where they didn't think they had any options, and hence of a pun, plan B is here. We have blockchain technology now as a means of being able to surpass censorship. um are you guys doing instructional videos for newbies? Yeah, crypto. If you go check out the Unstoppable Domains YouTube channel, they definitely have some instructional videos for newbies. How easy is this for somebody to use if they just wanted to hop up in there? Because I tried and I didn't want to bring this up, but I will because maybe it'll help. Somebody got my damn domain already. They got Ken Bozak. I don't know how. I don't know who, but good for them. I'll buy it. Sell it to me. But like, how easy is it to just jump into unstoppabledomains.com and just start putting in your addresses? And I think it's right now. Is it just Koinami that actually views the blockchain for like a .zil address?
There's a few other wallets as well. Koinomi is the largest. We'll be putting up a little banner on our website that has the full list. So all you have to do is you go, you check out, you buy, you can pay with either credit card or crypto.
Okay, cool.
It takes like less than a minute
So you don't just need Zil to buy the domains or anything. It's not like you're being funneled into this crypto.
No, you actually never even need to deal with Zil at all, because we also cover the transaction fees. So the transaction fees are essentially hidden from you as the user. So you'll buy the domain gets dropped into your wallet. You'll go into manage, and when you go into manage, you'll just click the domain, and then you'll see fields like Bitcoin field, Ethereum field, whatever. You just copy and paste your crypto address, click save, and then that's signing a message with your private key, and that's it. You're ready to go. Now you just tell me the name of the domain. I type it into a wallet. I pay you.
Damn, man, that sounds too convenient. It's like, why wasn't this here all along?
It's kind of a puzzle, especially because the crypto community's been talking about this for years. I mean, even back in 2012 days, people were talking about naming systems because it's kind of obvious. Like when the internet got big, it was partially because DNS got rid of the IP addresses. I probably wasn't going to get on your show and be like, hey, check out this amazing website we have. It's called 23-492-118. Like that probably would not have gotten us to where we are on the internet. And the same thing's going to happen here. Like we need to be able to share things that we can remember, so we can go and visit each other's websites, so that we can pay each other easily and do all this stuff.
Is there any like proprietary technologies that you own or anything that is like patented or anything to that aspect?
Some of the stuff related to how we interact with the blockchain is, but the actual tools themselves are for the most part open source, and that's because we want them to propagate. We want people to be using them as much as possible. And for us and for our business, we're mostly focused on the domain names, and eventually we'll be focused on more tools. But it's much more important for us at this stage to get this ecosystem going to the point where people are building their own stuff. So we don't want to have any barriers, and we just don't think they're necessary.
So how is the Zilla or Zill cryptocurrency? Is it mined? Are there masternodes? Do people stake them? What's the environment like for the cryptocurrency?
It's proof of work. It's
Proof of
a
work?
it's a it's a sharded blockchain. So they're the first implementation that I'm aware of multiple shards. So it's really high throughput, and that's the reason why we built on it initially. But our next domain name system will be on Ethereum. And in general, our idea around this stuff is that we're blockchain agnostic. We're just trying to build on the best tools. And there's some trade-offs where if you have a system like Zilliqa that can process a lot of transactions, it means everything's going to be really cheap and easy to update. We were talking about updating your website earlier, really, really cheap. If we do it with .zil, we do it with an Ethereum extension, it won't be as cheap.
Mm.
So, but there's benefits to Ethereum because it has all these integrations already, and a lot of people already know how to work with it. So, there's upsides and downsides to both, and that's the reason why we're going to support both.
Nice. So I guess Bitcoin, I mean, right now isn't even an option for building something like this on. Do you see a potential for Bitcoin's blockchain to be able to host technologies like this? And if so, what would it take?
So I think the direction that Rootstock has been trying to go would address some of it, but I also don't think that I don't. It doesn't from what I can gather from the Bitcoin core folks, it doesn't look like it's something they view as core, and they're probably right.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
if Bitcoin is gold, it doesn't need to be gold that also is a computer inside. It can just be gold, and that's super valuable and super important. So from what I see, it looks like they're trying to stay extremely focused on that, and that's probably the right strategy. And there are other folks that are focused much more on this problem, and therefore those would be the tools that we're more likely to use. But we're open. It really depends on. We're technology agnostic. Like, we don't really think that a lot of the feudalism that has been part of the community for the past few years, like, we just don't really think it matters. It's just whatever's best, that's what we're going to use, and no matter what, the tools are going to be for a whole community. So
So, are you guys doing anything to kind of appeal to the legacy industries? Is there a promotional campaign, outreach? I'm just curious, what it's like. Are you going to conferences, anything like that?
yeah, to the traditional domain name world, sure. And the big place that we're using to try to onboard them is we're running what's called a sunrise period, which is basically an opportunity for companies to claim their trademarks. So
So I
the
can't buy Skittles.zil.
if it's a trademark, no.
Damn it! I was
Well,
gonna squat. I was gonna squat on some domains, bro.
so what happens is that they get first option. So they get first option, but if they don't take the option, then it becomes publicly available. And this is very
Is that
similar
through an
to
auction or is it just publicly available and I can claim it?
depends on the domain. If it's but for the most part, it'll just be publicly available.
Okay.
And this is the way that the traditional domain name industry works too, where you get right of first refusal as the trademark holder, but if you don't take that right, then it goes to the public.
Oh, that is amazing. All right, cool. So how long until that kind of runs out? Is there like a 6 year period or something?
There's like a 6 month
Oh,
period
beautiful. Way
with
better.
Zill. Yeah, with Zill, and it's probably going to be longer with our next extension because we really want to. The idea is that if we can get the domains into the hands of the right people, it's actually better for the system. So our goal is try to get the domains into the hands of the right people as much as possible, and that's what's going to build a better system long term for everyone.
I see
So
so much potential for synergy here. Like I imagine blockchain projects like Steemit. Why isn't Steemit utilizing unstoppable domains? It's like that missing piece to what Steemit could be.
I agree. I think they will. I think these kinds of systems will move to this. It's just it solves a lot of problems, and it's just I think it's inevitable that this tech is kind of where we're headed.
Well, you checked off a lot on your roadmap. What's left till the end of 2019 to completion of the year's roadmap?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest stuff is going to be towards the end of the year around web tools to make that stuff actually workable. So that's what you should look out for is more tools to start playing around with websites.
Yeah, everybody's gonna have their own website, because I know we're all tired of Twitter and Facebook, and it would just be so much cooler to say go to my own social media website, like my own page. And I know that that would inspire another project in its own to kind of categorize those in its own like thing. And it's just, there's so much potential here to disrupt these monopolies that are becoming the internet itself. The internet doesn't really feel like this free place when you start to go to a lot of these sites. Everything's very cookie cutter. It's very similar. The echo chamber is from the UI to the UX, and it's starting to become very dull. And it's because of the borders of entry and everything that kind of keeps independent, creators and artists out. We don't see the means of, people that want to open their own version of a mom and pop website, really something that they can do. So I think this is amazing. So for, I guess, the wrap things up here, anything that we can talk about that we haven't touched on that we should?
So when is this video coming out?
We're live. Hi, Identity Block, Crypto Angels, and Nina.
So we've got a big announcement end of week on Friday that I suggest everybody look out for, about what's coming next. I can't mention more about it just yet, but that's definitely look out for news from us on Friday.
Friday, guys, check out Unstoppable Domains on Twitter. I guess that's right, where you'll probably be posting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, check them out and let me know what you think in the comments below. I mean, like, outside of the obvious, where do you see this type of technology inspiring changes in the industry? As we see these tools like Unstoppable Domains progress, and things like, I think, like Golem and Augur and all these other things that kind of could come together and build what is Web 3.0. We have this very blank understanding of what it could be, but it's so limitless and it's different. I mean, gamification, the data behind it. I did want to touch on one thing actually, which I think I should before I wrap things up, is that data mining and data is very valuable. And is that one way that Zill as a business makes money off of any kind of data through like these domain names and the addresses and any transactions through them? Because that's a lot of information that could be used in some sort of AI. All information is very useful.
We don't have any specific plans in that direction, and nor would we have any specific advantage because all the data is on the blockchain. So anything we have is basically stuff that you would have too. So we wouldn't have any specific advantage. But I think the bigger thing is that one thing that blockchain domains enable is they enable you as the user to store your own data on a decentralized storage network and then release it to applications when you want, rather than have the applications control your data for you, which is like completely the opposite. It's basically like inverting the way Facebook works. Like Facebook takes your data and then like gives you a service because they have your data. In the future, you'll give a Facebook your data or access to it or access to some small part of it for some small period of time, and then they'll provide you a service. And that will make it so you're not locked into them. So you're not forced to use that one app. And so that one app can't get so powerful that they can effectively, mess with society.
Uneco this system, because that's what they're doing, man. They're building ecosystems, and that's what they want. So many people are sucked into the Apple OS ecosystem or the .com ecosystem that they are pretty much slaves to it, and this is unecoing the system. And so, like, that's amazing, bro. Keep doing what you're doing over there with Unstoppable Domains, because I mean, it's disruptive. I do worry about disruptive technologies a lot, because it's definitely not in the favor of the lobbyists to have these things succeed. So I wish you all the luck, bro.
Thanks a bunch. This was fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. And everybody, check out unstoppabledomains.com, and don't forget to claim yours, because somebody got mine. So don't be like me and be lazy about it. Go get your damn domains, guys. All right, bro. Have a day.